What's up, everybody? It's your boy Johnny Buck here with another podcast. Sorry for the delay between the last podcast and this one. We're sitting about 10 days. Had some issues uploading audio from ripping them from my Facebook Live over to the podcast. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make separate podcasts. I thought I'd be able to mesh them over. I'm having a real hard time with it. So I'm just going to start doing these on the regular basis. Try and keep it a little more consistent. But if you're on Facebook, hit me up, Johnny Buck, JOHNNY BUCK, and I'll add you as a friend. Or send me a message and I'll add you as a friend. But what I do is, it kind of depends on whatever is tickling my fancy that week. I just talk about things that are happening, do some improvement stuff. But today I want to talk about living your life to the fullest. Some cliche stuff, but some pretty accurate either way. So what happens is I'm going to give you a quick rundown of where I'm at physically and mentally and some experiences and kind of how I got here. So I moved to North Carolina, 5 years old, started playing football in second grade. So we couldn't afford the football stuff even our first year here, which is cool. It didn't matter. I had a good time. Kind of adjusting, meeting people, yada, yada, yada. So I started playing football, and anybody knows about football is it's a contact sport. You wear helmets, you try and kill each other. And I was very fortunate to have a good coaching staff from Little League through high school. They taught the importance of good form, keeping your head up, not spearing each other and all that. But here's the thing about football is that is where I would say the vast majority of my head injuries came from, your TBIs and whatnot. And it's not a sob story. We're gonna touch on this and move. Then I got into, second grade through high school, a bunch of concussions, and then I got into college. I started wrestling in 8th grade to stay in shape for football, and then I kind of took that path. Didn't take wrestling serious until my junior year of high school, basically my senior year, and then I went and wrestled at the Citadel for 5 years. So then I got MMA, and during this time, I have taken a lot of physical abuse. Like I said, in football, a lot of concussions, a lot of bell rings. We played defense. We played hard-nosed football. We were all psychopaths for the most part. Very, very mean guys on defense, and that's why I played D tackle type position. And so every single snap of the ball, we were getting hit. And I didn't have too many injuries physically. I had a few concussions, but nothing major. There's a few games where I missed some things, but it's is what it is. And then I started wrestling all through school, and that's where most of my physical injuries came from wrestling. Shoulder injuries, spine injuries, like degeneration and arthritis, just from the position your good wrestling stance. Plus, I wrestled heavyweight for 2 years, and those guys were a lot bigger than I was. But then I got into, and when we were in college wrestling, we traveled. We were in Vegas every year. We were in Reno every year. We got to travel all over the country and see some really cool shit and compete with some of the best guys in the world and some of my best friends that I met over the years, both in my college and growing up in high school. Then I got in MMA, and I had 29 fights, a little better than 500, pretty decent record. Fought in Bellator a couple times, and then in XFC as well. But I took a lot of physical abuse. I would say the vast majority of my issues were from football. Like I got kicked in the head once in training. Blake kicked my fucking head off. I don't remember anything except finishing a takedown, and then them telling me I kept repeating myself as my teammate D Hart drove us home. And then I got knocked out my first pro fight. I switched into a double leg on the way down. He hit a switch knee and put me out. But those were my only two major issues that I remember. And we banged a decent amount. We did a lot of situational stuff. But I've had a lot of experiences. I got to fight in Panama City on the beach. I got to fight in Bellator. I got to fight in XFC. I've been on TV. I was on ESPN one time, for a weekend review thing. But there's a lot of things I don't remember. There's a lot of things that are fuzzy. And here's the thing about it. In football, they pretend what they're doing. Like, they deceive what they're doing. They lie about it a little bit. The thing I like about MMA and boxing and kickboxing is there's no lie. Like, you're 100% sure if I'm fighting you, I'm trying to hurt you. I'm trying to punch you in the head till your head stops functioning and you go to sleep. So there's no lie about it. There's no cover. And a lot of parents are pulling their kids from football because of the TBI thing. I'm not going to say that's good or bad. I'm not going to say you're right or wrong because they're not my kids. I don't have kids. But I can just kind of say what I would do. I would not want to go back and not play football. So, given the opportunity, knowing what I know now, I would go back and play football all over again. For sure, change a few things. But if, Johnny, hey, you're going to be in the exact same place. If you click this red button, you can go back and do it again. I would click the red button all day. Because I'm 33 years old. Like I said, I forget things. Part of my ADD, part because of brain injuries. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. I wouldn't trade any of those experiences, any single experience for all of my brain cells back. And a lot of people listening to this are like, what the fuck? This dude's obviously insane. Remember, I'm 33 years old, okay? I have lived more life than a lot of people twice my age. For lack of a better term, your band geeks, your Dungeons and Dragon guys, your math skills people, whatever it is, who pursued the academic route. It's hard to find somebody who's done that, who has lived as much as I have. That being said, so I'm 66 years old all of a sudden, right? I would much rather be 66 and forget why I walked in the kitchen, which I do now. But I'd much rather forget why I walked in the kitchen on a regular basis and then have some fuzzy memories of some really awesome things than be 66 and in perfect health and feel like a 25-year-old and have nothing to talk about. I have super happy with where I'm at in my life right now. Super happy with the decision I made. I've made a shitload of mistakes, which I'll talk about, but you only have one life to live, and this is the cliche shit. And you're not guaranteed tomorrow either. More cliches, but they're both true. The thing about it is, tomorrow, if I die tomorrow, it means my brain will get no more fucked up than it already is, and my body won't get any more fucked up than it already is. I'm going to have very few regrets. And the only regrets I have in my life up to right now are things I did not do, not things that I have done. I've done a lot of fucked up things. If you listen to the podcast, you know this. And I'll go into those one day. But I don't regret it. I don't regret concussions. I don't regret stealing Steve White's helmet from him so I go back in and play another play, even though I took my helmet away and told me I couldn't play anymore. I don't regret getting in fucking gym wars and beating the ass off each other, because that's what got me in XFC. That's what got me in Bellator. That's what got me that kind of hard-nosed thing. When I was 2 years old, for my second birthday, my dad got a father-son boxing glove set, Sugar Ray Leonard boxing gloves. I don't think they're father-son sets now that I'm looking at it, thinking about it, but he got a pair and I got a pair. And he would punch me in my head. Probably shouldn't do that. It's a long time ago. It's 31 years ago. DSS will probably fucking shoot you and your neighbors if you did that now. But I wouldn't trade that back. By no means were my parents abusive, and by no means was my childhood rough. But I had a lot of awesome experiences. When I was 5 years old, we moved to North Carolina. I was a new kid from Southern Florida, and North Carolina in 91 was ass backwards as fuck. A bunch of hillbillies and shit. And still are, but I was a new kid. I fought constantly, and that has nothing to do with brain injuries, but not at 5. But what happens is I've had these experiences that I'll probably never forget because they happened when I was younger. I've got some experience. The first time I met Tater and Keith Richardson, see, TBIs. I don't remember at all until we started talking about it. Then it kind of jogs my memory. But that was a wild fucking night, dude. And we've been great friends ever since. Like, Tater's one of my boys. Keith's one of my boys. I'll do anything for him. But I don't remember that fucking night. Like, Johnny, you lost X amount of percentage of your brain that day. Would you like it back? Yes. But would I have to sacrifice the experience I had? Then no, I'll take it. It's cool. Like, I know I'm not your normal person, but I don't think I would trade any of my experiences for my brain cells back. Like, realistically, I'm very happy. I get to help people every single day. Like, every fucking day, I get to help somebody with jujitsu, with life, with nutrition, with just this shit, And to me, all of those experiences and the gray, fuzzy areas in my life have gotten me to where I'm at, and those experiences are invaluable. Those experiences are worth more than the brain cells I lost. And this is kind of a morbid fucking podcast. I didn't really mean it for that, but I'm gonna wrap it up on this note because it's time to go to bed. But like, listen, you literally you have one life to live, unless you're a fucking cat and you have 9. But I wouldn't trade anything I've done in my life for anything in the world. Like, hey, Johnny, we're gonna make your brain work a little better. We're gonna give you a bunch of money, but you don't get to have the experiences built off of your first pro fight. You don't get to know your boys up there. You don't get to have the memory. My first memory after getting knocked out was doing shots of Jaeger in a parking garage with Garen. I think that's what it was. I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't remember the order, but that's the first thing I remember. One of my best friends drove to fucking Ohio for my first pro fight, and I got knocked out. We got fucked up. I remember that. I would not trade that for those brain cells back. So, dude, and we're gonna wrap on this point for real. Live your life to the fullest, man. Like, take chances, have experiences that push the edge. Do not live in a fucking bubble all your life to regret it when you're 65, 75 years old. Like, damn, I didn't do a fucking thing. That to me, that would be the worst fucking dagger in the heart ever, is to have regrets like that. So that's really it. We're about 10, 12 minutes into this podcast. It's fucking late. I'm half delirious and obviously punch drunk. But, dude, appreciate you guys listening. If you know somebody that needs this, hit me up. Give them a share. And go swing over to iTunes. Subscribe and follow. It's some big ups to me. That way I get a little more boosted ratings, more ratings. I can help more people. So I appreciate you guys listening to this. I know it kind of rambled a little bit, but there's nothing on earth I would trade to lose these experiences that I've had. All right, later.